Hey, James G here with Tarpley Music in Fort Worth, Texas. So we recently put out a video featuring the brand new Zildjian Alchem-E full electronic drum set. So if you haven't seen that video, check it out. It is a nice big overview of the first release of this thing here. So in this video, I am going to go through all the snare drums. Now, first of all, you'll learn in the other video, these are full maple shell drums. Okay, so this is literally a full snare drum. But it has a mesh head on it with several triggers. So it does have a snare throw on it. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with the electric portion of this. So whether you want it on or off, personal preference. If you're using a really nice Sennheiser boom mic, I would assume you'd want to leave them off, which is why we do, just because it picks up everything there. So we take them off, but that is this. This drum is just a standard 14 by 5 maple snare drum. So with the head, once you kind of get used to it, the snare is going to feel like a snare because it is a full snare drum on there. So now, just like all the other things, you can really get in here and kind of nitpick certain feels and sounds if you feel the triggers are being a little weird. So I'm going to go into instrument here. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to go into trigger. So if you see snare drum, it basically has A, B, and C. A is the general of this drum. B is like a shot, or the rim shot at the head and the rim together. And then C, of course, is a cross stick. So you can get an actual full cross stick sound. And each one of those, you can change the head gain. You can change the sensitivity of the rim shot. So if you feel, man, I'm hitting a rim shot all the time when I don't need to, you may want to back that rim shot sensitivity off. If you have the problem, man, no matter what I do, I can't get a rim shot to sound, pull that sensitivity up. So if you look here, it's flashing what's being triggered. So A obviously should be being triggered right now. So that was my B. This is pretty effortless for me. At 50, it triggers really well. So now, one thing that's kind of weird as of now, when I've started doing the cross stick, is if I leave the stick on the head itself, I can get a cross stick, but sometimes I will trigger the other stuff, which makes sense because the other part. But if I do both rim to rim without my fingers hitting, I can always get that. So this is with my fingers, right? That's just rim. So once again, though, that cross stick sensitivity can be adjusted. Okay, so that is that as far as a triggering kind of messing up. You can really get in there and do that. But first, I would tell you, just get out and play on it a bunch and start kind of taking notes of, okay, there's a lot of rim shots happening when there shouldn't be, and yada yada. So that is the trigger itself, and then of course you have just the threshold of the drum itself here on the basic tab. All right, so now we're going to go over to instrument, and we're going to go through what snare drums are on here. So this is my drum page, going to snare drums. So the first one up we have here is a 14 by 5 collector's DW snare drum. Right. This next drum we have is a Dunn 14 by 6.5 steel, so steel a little bit deeper. Next up, Gretsch 14 5.5 custom jazz snare drum. Love that one. My favorite snare drum in there. So the next one we have is the good old 5x14 Ludwig Black Beauty. One of the most famous snare drums out there. Got to make sure it's on this kit, and it is. Also another great one. So next snare drum we have here is another Ludwig. This is a 14x5 Supra, but wood hoop. So you're going to get a really fatty, woody kind of an edge sound here. All right, last Ludwig. A lot of great Ludwig snare drums out there, so it makes sense to have a handful in here already. So Ludwig, this is the Pioneer. It's another 14x5.5. All right, MDS is the next one we have. This is a custom snare drum by MDS, just a good old 14x5, so very versatile, well-rounded snare. Noco S14x6. This is an alloy snare, so. Moving on to our Pearl snare drum. This is a Pearl reference snare drum. It's just the 14x5 that would come with like a reference kit. All right, now we get piccolo. So there is one Yamaha piccolo in here. It is the a 14 still, but it's a 3.5 piccolo. All right, so great, well-rounded. A lot of those will go with a lot of the tom packs that are there. But you can definitely just flip those around because you get everything from like a nice kind of a piccolo to a lot of the different shell types and even a wood hoop in there. So for the first run of this, I think that's a good amount of snare drums that you can really place with all your toms and things like that. So hopefully you got some cool tones, some snare drums you do like. Hey, comment if there's a snare drum you'd like to see in there. You never know. I have zero idea what they're going to put out next. So at this point, I'm just going with the flow of what's in there and just kind of having some fun. So like this, if you like the video, just give me a little thumbs up there. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and you can go in and you can see all the other Zildjian Alchem-E videos that we have done, as well as a ton of guitar and amp videos and some pedals and even some Persona Studio One for you recording guys. We'd love to have you part of our subscription family, and that way we can see you on the next one.